Welcome back. You're still watching Network Africa on Channels Television. Now we have some excerpts concerning the war against Boko Haram. And as the war continues, I beg your pardon, I'm actually taking the wrong story. A black and white Boko Haram flag is still fluttering on a top of a deserted villa in a Nigerian town of Dikwa, which is overlooking a courtyard filled with dirty mattresses and charred vehicles. Now that is a clear sign that the war is being won, and cities which were once held by the group have now been retaken. But now we're going to shift our attention to the issue of illegal migration. And yet another case of illegal migration has occurred, and without surprise, it's resulted in the loss of 10 lives. The 10 people in question were trying to reach Italy, and they died when their boat overturned in the southern Mediterranean. After the incident, the Italian Coast Guard ship took the bodies in the Sicilian port of Agosta, along with some 500 migrants who were rescued. It was not clear when the accident occurred, and it also said 200 other people were rescued and were being taken aboard a tanker to another port. Last month, more than 300 people died trying to cross the sea from Africa to Italy in a one-week period. Most of the boats which set out on these trips leave from Libya, which is facing threats from extremist groups like Libya Dawn, and most recently the Islamic State, which has called for jihadists to take over the country. We have reports that as many as 5,000 foreign fighters have answered that call and gone to join jihadist groups in the country. Joining us now via telephone is the senior immigration lawyer with Law and Visas, Olumide Adeomi. Olumide, thank you so much again for speaking with us on Network Africa.
Hello, good afternoon.
Now, I'd like to start by asking you, isn't it high time that Italy received support from the European Union concerning addressing this issue of illegal migration? Because you know that the Triton program, it costs $10 million a month, and Italy doesn't seem to be able to fund that. Isn't it high time that they received some form of support from the European Union?
Yes, certainly. The Italy needs help. I think the problem is not with Italy alone. There are other countries within the EU that this problem will affect down the line. So because normally the migration path for these migrants is they get into Europe by Italy. Then they move to France, in Calais, which is the border between France and the UK.
Wreaking havoc there. And now the Islamic State has called for jihadists to get to Libya. And we understand that about 5,000 foreign jihadists are now presently in Libya. And we also have information that's according to the foreign minister. Now, my question to you is, how do you see this playing out? We're going to see, obviously going to see more cases of illegal migration, but what further consequences could there be, seeing as there's little assistance?
Yeah. Libya is a country that needs help. Libya at the moment is absolutely desperate. The country is in a total mess. And when we are talking about illegal migration from Africa to Europe, Libya remains a hotbed for illegal migration in Africa. And that seems to be the main route for people traveling to Europe. So it is important that the international community sorts the issue of Libya out. There's so much instability, and basically they are not in control of the borders. So that's why you have, as a result of the unrest, the conflict in 2004 that removed the President Muammar Gaddafi. So it's important that the world wakes up and look at Libya as basically a failed state, and one needs to respond to the threats that comes out of Libya, which is what we see today in terms of uncontrolled border instability and just a hotbed for people to get on the boat and go to Europe.
Now, finally, any final words on the way forward from this situation? Because we had as many as 3,200 deaths last year and 140,000 rescues by Mare Nostrum. That's the rescue operation courtesy of Italy. So how can we see less deaths possibly this year?
Yeah. I think, in my own professional opinion, the international community has just been slow. There's been slow movement in terms of trying to tackle this issue head-on. The United Nations have a very, very crucial role to play. Yes, people talk here and there, but there isn't been a proactive action or clear strategy to try to resolve the matter. The EU needs to play a